part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
In the words of Ron Burgundy, milk was a bad choice.
It's been a hot week.
It is a hot summer.
I actually read today that we are on pace. We just had the hottest month worldwide in recorded human history.
We are melting like a crayon.
And I'm fat, and it doesn't go well together.
Nah, I was a bit saucy.
Oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector,
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network.
You know what week it is?
What week is it?
It's National Week.
It is.
Guess who's not there?
These guys.
These guys.
You know
We're
where
not
we've
there.
been? Working our butts off.
In the 100-degree heat.
You know why?
Because we're not independently wealthy?
Because we went to Bible college.
Yeah, no, we're not independently wealthy, so, work. But, no, it's National Week. I've got a lot of friends that are up there. They've been sending me texts and telling me how great it is in Chicago.
And thanking God that they're not in Atlantic City.
Everybody should thank God that they're not in Atlantic City. You
Yeah.
talk about just a shithole place. It's bad. It's bad. And it's back.
I've never heard anyone give it a compliment.
It's back in 2026. The National is back in Atlantic City
I thought
in
that
2026.
they had said this is not going to happen again.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Are they
And
okay with losing a lot of money? Because
Well,
that's essentially.
I think what it boiled down to is Atlantic City said, hey, if you guys will come back, you can have the convention center for free. So the organizers aren't going to lose any money. They're going to actually make a lot more money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's be honest. When somebody's running a show, especially a show that size, it's not for the betterment of the hobby primarily. It's
Make that money.
to make that money. Yeah. Dollar bills, y'all.
Location.
Yeah, Cleveland's next year. And let's be honest, Cleveland's also kind of a shithole, but it's a close to us shithole. So
I don't know. I just spent the weekend up there.
you did. There's a small pocket of Cleveland that isn't too bad. Unfortunately, you have to risk your life and potentially like organs on the black market to get to that
So,
area of Cleveland.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Leslie, my wife, got us. We went up to the Guardians game. We
Yeah.
had tickets.
You had all the bougie stuff while I
Close.
was sitting in the outfield 416 section melting in Cincinnati.
Let me give you all some life advice here.
Marry up.
You actually said this too, but I'd already done it. You find someone more mature than you that'll put up with you.
That's
outkick
not
your
how I
coverage,
say it, but yeah, I get where you're going.
you marry that person. And so now that my wife's getting to be like a big shot at work, we get those tickets, right?
Yeah.
So the law group that represents the company my wife works with, hopefully I'm not breaching anything here. It's all above water. Anyway, they gave us tickets for like these club seats.
Yeah, free
up at
food, free
Progressive.
booze. Yeah.
Well, you didn't hear the best part.
Okay.
Listen, imagine this. Sold out crowd. Saturday night. The
Yeah.
sun is setting. The Phillies are there. And still, it's
Is
a
that the
sold
game
out
that
crowd.
Ramirez went off?
No.
Hit two dangs?
This was the most
No?
boring
Okay.
game I've ever seen in my life. You go in, you get a wristband, you find out that there is a whole food court. I swear to you, a food
Yeah.
court. All you can eat. Lots of options. You get your stuff, you go to sit down, and you sit down and you realize the armrests have not dragged flesh off of your thighs on the
Are
way
they
down.
padded?
They're padded and they're extra large.
Oh.
Leg room. I was man spreading all the way through the game, not touching a soul. I had room. There was a padded seat.
This-
And my kids made it to the 7th inning, which is not bad.
I would have been like, drink this thimbleful of Jack Daniels and sit down.
Well,
We're staying for the whole
Had
game.
it not been a snooze fest, the only run scored was off of a blooper where the Phillies missed a fly ball to shallow
was
right
it a
field.
snooze fest or was the pitching really good?
Pitching wasn't good either.
Oh, okay. It was just bad.
It was a rough game.
Okay.
It was a rough game.
Yeah.
Gorgeous field.
Oh, you've never been to the Jake,
I
had
have
you?
not.
Yeah,
I
it's a
have
really
not.
nice.
It was really
it's a nice
nice,
place.
clean, different fan base. You know, Cincinnati. I don't exactly know how to put this. If you ever read the book Hillbilly Elegy, I think everybody stopped by Cincinnati on the way through.
You went too highbrow there. Have you been to Walmart recently?
No.
Because that's basically a Reds game, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Great American Ballpark's a cool ballpark. I enjoy it. It's light years ahead of the old Riverfront Stadium. We went to the Reds game and saw them play the Diamondbacks this last Sunday, the day after you were in Cincy or in Cleveland at the Jake. And it was a really fun game.
Yep.
It was also the surface of the sun. And my wife, bless her heart, she's the best. She knows what annoys me, and she tries to help me avoid the things that annoy me. So the last Reds game we went to, she got tickets, and she made sure I was on the end of an aisle, and we were about halfway up section 416. So right down the third base line, not the very top deck, next deck down, decent foul ball area, got a good view of everything. And we were in a spot on the end, and I bet I had to stand up 30 times in that game for people coming in and out of the aisle. Oh. And then jackasses in front of us standing up and just turning around having conversations with people while the game's going on, blocking view of the pitcher and the plate. Steam coming out of my ears. My wife is convinced,
like actual steam because it's so hot.
She's convinced I'm going to get into a fight. Like, she's like, you have to calm down. I don't need to bail you out of jail.
And for those of you that don't know, Gary has no problem starting a fight.
None.
He has no qualms at all.
At all. So when we went last Sunday, she got tickets for us. Same section, because it was a good section. Row 1 in the middle. Uh-huh. So nobody's going to be climbing over us.
Yep.
They go out either way.
Yeah.
Great view of the field.
Wait, was the glass in front of you?
Yes, right there.
So magnifying glass.
Yeah, it was awesome. Except that it was 92 degrees and the sun was just beating down on us.
If you had ants on your shirt, would they have caught on fire?
Yes. It was so hot. But we saw Ellie hit a leadoff home run.
There you go.
And then as soon as that happened, when it was time for him to come up again 2 innings later, pulled the pitcher and put a lefty in, and Ellie went to the right-hand side of the plate where he's god-awful.
Yep. Back to Cleveland.
Okay.
Go to the game. A lot of hotels were booked right. There's not a ton of hotels right by the stadium. And then you start looking, where do we go if we're not right by the stadium?
The hood.
My wife
That's where
said,
you go.
Well, we got a spot just a little bit east. And I said, oh, how far? East. Oh, just a little bit.
Cleveland Heights?
So we just go driving a few miles down the road, and
you were afeared for your life?
it seemed a bit war-torn. And
It looked like Bosnia.
just
Sarajevo.
just rusted out factories that once were filled with so much hope. And then we pulled into our hotel in the middle of this area. Oh, it's a Cleveland Clinic. It was really nice. But yeah, I don't know. But what I've heard is when they set up the Nash, we've lost. So here's the problem: Press Play, the majority of their fan base, our network, are Cleveland based. But we're making some enemies here. We're not trying. We made fun of Cincinnati, guys. So just let us have this. Also, don't be too cocky and defensive. We also went to your famous Edgewater Park, rolled up to the beach. There were signs every 6 feet on the beach. You probably already know where this is heading if you're from Cleveland. Hey, just a friendly notice from the city of Cleveland. We had a pretty good storm last night. There's a bunch of poop in this water. Took my kids down. We bought ice cream. We went and sat by the beach. Within 10 seconds, I have a very sensitive nose. And I'm just like, my wife's like, what's wrong? I was like, you don't smell that?
You're just over there going,
It smells like we're eating ice cream out of a toilet bowl, not like an actual bowl.
You and my wife are the two people I know that have the most sensitive noses ever. It's your superpower.
Okay, so call me crazy, but then I go read the sign and it's like, oh, it's poop water. Lake Erie is filled with all of Cleveland's human waste. Have a nice day. Here's what blew my mind with all you Cleveland people. The beach was full.
Oh, yeah.
Unbothered.
Have you not ever been to Deer Creek, bro?
I've never been in the water.
There is nothing.
This is a sharp left turn.
There is nothing that socioeconomically challenged people like more than a non-oceanfront beach.
Okay, so I'm not going to go that far with it. I'm just saying, beautiful park, poopy water,
Lots of meth.
beautiful
very
skyline,
few teeth.
beautiful skyline,
Yeah.
beautiful parks. I like downtown Cleveland.
The very downtown
Yeah.
Cleveland, I agree with you. It's very cool. But if you take 3 steps outside of it,
I don't know. We went over the historic
body
district,
armor.
and we went to their Pins Mechanical. Did a little duck pin
I
bowling.
hate Pins Mechanical.
We you probably suck at duck pin bowling. so that
I
means.
don't like doing it, and it's so hipster. I just, ugh.
It wasn't in Cleveland.
Well, no, that's true. That's fair.
But Cleveland does have a lot of hipsters. And then we went to a brewery. Anyway. So
We're
Nashville's
so
gonna
far
be
off
back
track
in
here.
Cleveland. If you're still with us, God bless you. We do have to shorten this down a little bit.
Yeah, we
because-
are going to talk sports and sports cards. I promise. It's
But the
coming.
Nationals this week, we can't wait to hear all the scandals. This person stole this card. You won't believe what this company did.
It's coming.
It'll be good. Let's talk NFL camps.
Let's talk NFL camps. It's
So,
time to talk some football. We can talk baseball for
Football
months.
is underway. A few things have happened recently.
Today.
Yeah, today we had some little action. I'll start with the bad news for me. Jalen Ramsey.
Toast.
Knee surgery. His Twitter, he made it optimistic that he would be back by the end of the season.
Non-contact knee injuries are never good.
Not good. That's a big one because that was a huge asset, big addition for the team. So I'm
A
feeling
lot
that
of
one a
dollars in
little
the
bit.
cap tied to that.
Yeah. Old Joey B went down.
Calf strain.
Everybody,
was freaking out.
shut up! I'm trying to get him to sell us some Burrow cars. That was our time.
Okay.
Let me finish a sentence. Let
Yeah.
me finish one sentence. I give you 1.5 Bud Lights, and look what happens.
I also had a monster on the way here, so
You're real crazy. I also ate 2 pixie sticks under my tongue. Remember that? You weren't a rebel unless you took pixie sticks under the tongue.
oh, waka.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about
Why'd you make that walking noise?
because I wanted to.
What's the purpose behind that? Could
There-
you maybe
there-
never do that again?
I could tell you that I'm never going to do it again.
Okay. Well, waka. Stupid. All right. Joe Burrow, calf strain. Everybody calm down. Calm down. This man has already come back from a blown out extremity and pretty good. He just signed a big deal with Body Armor. God only knows how much that was. Lot. He's doing fine. Everybody relax.
Likely 2 to 8 weeks, depending on the severity
So
of the strain.
basically, he's going to be fresh for the season.
Yeah, he wasn't going to do much in the preseason anyway, if at all. Last year, he didn't play at all in the preseason. He had that appendectomy last year. So
Oh, that's right. Something every year with this
yeah,
kid.
so I mean, calf strains are no fun. I've had one. I actually had a partial calf tear once, and it was about a month before I was right. He's a much higher level athlete than I am, so it might take, or was definitely much higher than I am currently.
Yeah.
But it may take him a little longer to reach his full deal, but it's not like Joe Burrow is a dual threat quarterback. He needs to be able
True.
to have enough strength to push off of the leg and to follow through on throws
Yep.
and to move around in the pocket. And you could see what happened. I mean, muscle strains like that happen when you're practicing full go the first couple days of camp and it's heat index of 104. Like, stuff happens. He'll be fine.
Yep. Let's talk. Ooh, Brock Purdy. He's back, baby.
And he's running with the number one offense.
Yep. Looking good. We weren't sure how long it would take for him to get back. At first, everyone was saying this is going to be a problem. I don't think you're the one that said he'd be back by camp, right?
Well, I thought that if he didn't have to have surgery, he would be. But the way that the summer went, I kind of thought that it may end up being the Sam Darnold show. But now that he's full go,
Yeah.
the thing about Brock Purdy that I think everybody underestimates, it's not that he's a super physically gifted player, but he has the one thing that you absolutely must have if you want to be a really successful
And what's
NFL
that?
quarterback. Your teammates have to really respect you and like you.
Which is rare for him coming in, being a young guy, and what he's done, but he's done it.
Yeah, his teammates love him.
So
So
those are all 3 big things that would happen this week. A lot more going on, but we're going to jump into a little bit more NFL. You ready?
okay.
All right, then let's do a little segment called Make or Break. So we're going to look at NFL players this next season. For whatever reason, we think it's a make or break year. It's important that they meet expectations, arise to expectations, exceed them, depending on the situation. If it doesn't happen this year, I think people are going to start talking a certain kind of way.
Yep.
So let's jump right in. Some popular names that 2 years ago we would have been like, oh, there's no way they'd be in this conversation. But they are.
That's sports.
Calvin Ridley. Let's start there. This is an interesting one. fresh
Yeah.
off of being stupid.
Yeah, fresh off of a 1-year suspension for gambling. I will say this, sidebar. Sports leagues, I hate to break this to you, but when you get in bed with the gambling industry
Absolutely.
and then you start telling your people they can't gamble, you look real ridiculous.
I don't understand it.
So I understand not gambling on your team, but the whole you can't bet if you're on team facilities on your phone, like that's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
so people forget Calvin Ridley as a rookie and as a second-year player was ascending. Like I think most people looked at him as a Pro Bowl, borderline all-pro level receiver, and that was with relatively washed-up Matt Ryan throwing to him. Now Calvin Ridley, fresh off a year out of the league, by all accounts kept himself in good shape, is now in Jacksonville with an ascending Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
That offense kind of looks scary.
Let's break it down a little bit.
Doug Peterson, everybody knows what Doug Peterson's capable of as a play caller. You've got Evan Ingram coming off of a career year, which, hey, I hate to tell everybody this. If you listened to us at the beginning of last NFL season, I told you he
Yep.
was going to have a year.
Yep.
You've got Calvin Ridley. You've got Christian Kirk coming off of a Pro Bowl year. You've got Marvin Jones, who's an older guy, but he's just a steady, solid player. You got Travis Etienne coming off of a year where he was top 6 in the NFL in rushing yards and is a really good receiver out of the backfield that they like to use in slot packages and move him around a lot. And then
Yeah.
you got Trevor Lawrence.
You say Christian Kirk already?
Yeah, I said Christian
missed
Kirk
it.
already. So you were messing with your cat. So in any event, that offense looks scary, and Calvin Ridley could put up some big numbers. Calvin Ridley's cards are pretty cheap, guys. You can get nice stuff pretty cheap. And when I say pretty cheap, like you can go get some like National Treasures or Flawless rookie autos for $100, $150. That's if you can afford that kind of a bet, it's not a bad bet
Yeah.
to make.
Yeah.
Because that team could be really good this year, and he could be their best receiver.
Yep. Okay, let's go the opposite end of the spectrum as far as like expectations coming off of what they're dealing with. Herbert signs a huge contract,
Yep.
and it really matters that he does something with it.
Justin Herbert may be the most polarizing quarterback in the league not named Aaron Rodgers. There are people who just think he's awful. I don't get why people think he's awful.
I don't get that.
All the kid has done is play the quarterback position really, really well. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't do he can only do what he does. And then last year they put an offense in that just eliminated the downfield passing game. So he's dinking and dunking, but he's doing what he's being asked to do.
Yep.
Now they bring Kellen Moore in as the offensive coordinator. That's going to open up. And I think you're going to see Justin Herbert go off. Now his stuff isn't cheap,
No, I don't think there's a big leap
but
on the
he's
value.
half of what Joe Burrow is.
Yeah.
He's actually currently a little bit cheaper than Jalen Hurts.
Well, I think part of it is the perceived capacity to run deep into the playoffs.
Well, you're in the same division as Kansas
Yep.
City. Makes it tough.
Yep.
But I think Kansas City, and I know I said this last year, and Patrick Mahomes figured out how to make it happen, but they are just losing talent left
Well,
and right.
Kansas City and the Golden State Warriors are running some very interesting parallels.
Yeah.
You've got to. It's hard to say a few more years. Patrick Mahomes is still very young, but when you look at the other weapons around him, they're not that young.
Yeah.
Kelsey was a rookie, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So,
He's entering year 11 or 12.
yeah. So, you start looking at the other offense around him. You can name some players because you watch it, but you're not like blown away.
Well, like Juju Smith-Schuster is gone. He's in New England
Yep.
now.
Yep.
You're counting on Mecole Hardman and Kadarius Toney to be your main guys
Well,
at
and
receiver.
Mecole Hardman works because you have other weapons. Like it's similar
Right.
to like a Wes Welker thing.
Well,
Wes
it's the same
Welker
thing with
has
Kadarius
this-
Toney.
Yes.
Kadarius Toney's a gadget dude. I don't know that he can be an outside receiver.
We're talking about Kansas City, of course, but
Yep. And Andy
we
Reid,
took a leap.
Yep.
But Mahomes is able to create things that didn't exist before.
Agreed.
Rugby passes, like
Yep.
he can do things a different way. He is a freak.
But I think that Justin Herbert could put up, regardless of what the team does, I think Justin Herbert could put up a ridiculous stat. Like, You remember, you'll know this because you're a Dolphins fan. You remember when the Dolphins weren't winning games, but Dan Marino was just putting up insane passing numbers?
My whole childhood.
I think you could see that
Yeah.
this year from Justin
Yeah.
Herbert. And if that happens, you guys know how the card market is. It reacts to player performance. The huge spikes react to team performance, but the trends react to player performance.
Now, here's what I'll say. With Herbert from the investment side of cards, if I'm not buying him now, I'm buying him as soon as they would lose, if they lose early in the playoffs. If he puts up those kind of numbers, but they get knocked out early, 2 weeks after they've lost, go buy up some Herbert
Yeah,
stuff.
if you're gonna buy Herbert stuff, I would be buying it now.
Because they're making investments, like they'll, they're making solid investments to Herbert. They'll build around him if he's putting up those kind of
Yeah.
numbers.
No,
I feel
for
confident
sure.
in that. All right, let's talk about Chicago. Two key players in that. Justin Fields had some like glimmers at last year where everybody's like, "Oh, okay,
Glimmers.
just let me." Just let
Okay.
me. Chicago did not want him to be a running quarterback, and when they finally let him do that, they realized, "Holy cow, this guy runs fast!" And
Well,
it opens up so many
yes.
options for us.
Yes, and they realized
I was
that.
at the game when that first happened.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was the Miami.
Well,
Chicago game.
the best was they interviewed your head coach afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Could you please stop doing that?" No. So they also realized that they had an absolutely abysmal offensive line, and they didn't have any options. So I think that when it comes to Justin Fields, I don't think it's a make or break year. I do think it's a year where we're going to see what his trajectory is for real. And the thing about him, though, is his cards, I would not be buying them right now. They're already, his stuff is real. His stuff's more expensive than Jalen Hurts's is. And that's kind of silly to me.
I don't think it needs it's just Jalen Hurts. Is
Okay.
not Hurts is.
How do you pronounce a last name that ends in an
Geese.
S with an apostrophe after it? For
You just say the S.
plural.
You don't add an extra S.
Okay.
It's S apostrophe,
Yeah, that's what I just said.
but you pronounce it Hurts.
Well, yeah, because
No, you don't have to do that.
Okay, gotcha. Either way, he's more expensive than Jalen Hurts, which is
You're such an
I
idiot.
think- that's fair. Which I think is a little silly, but it is what it is. He's not a guy I'm buying right now, but if you've got some Justin Fields stuff, it might be worth holding because if the Bears come out of the gate swinging, and I think they could, and he's playing well,
Yeah.
after 4 games, he's got 10 touchdown passes and a couple of 3-4 rushing touchdowns and 300 yards on the ground. It's probably time to move some stuff.
Yep. We're up there in Chicago.
Chase
Keep it going.
Claypool?
Let's talk Chase Claypool. It's a good fit.
So Chase Claypool is a lottery ticket with decent odds. If you remember Chase Claypool's rookie year, he was going to be the next big thing. He had 10 touchdowns his rookie year. He played really well. Give it the crack. There you go. He played really well as a rookie in Pittsburgh. And then last year in the transition from Roethlisberger to Trubisky, then to Kenny Pickett, he got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy, wasn't playing well, so they traded him for like a 3rd-round pick to Chicago, and he got there, and he had some glimmers. But he's a perfect receiver for that offense. He's a big-bodied kid who can go win jump balls in the red zone, and he can block in the run game. And he's reasonably fast. When you combine that with the other receivers they have on that roster there and Darnell Mooney, you've got somebody who could legit, and DJ Moore's there now too. So he's going to be a 2, maybe 3. It's kind of borderline. I think they probably end up moving Mooney to the slot. I think he's better there. DJ Moore's a legit number 1 receiver. So that offense is already taken big strides forward. Yeah. Khalil Herbert was really good before he got hurt last year as a rookie. I think that he could come back and be a really solid running back.
Is the line there for them?
It's better than it was. The thing when you have a quarterback that has the running ability that Justin Fields has is that the line doesn't have to be amazing.
Yeah, he can
it just
create.
has to be okay. It has to be good enough that he doesn't get drilled in the face as his back foot hits the ground in a drop.
Or is forced to scramble every single play. Yeah.
Right. Like he's got to have 2.5 seconds.
Because if they just have to set a contain on him, then
that's
not
But the
gonna
thing
work.
about Justin Fields is last year teams tried to do that.
He can still throw.
Well, not only can he throw, but he'll outrun your contain guys.
Well, as
To the
Buckeye
field,
fans,
yeah, he will
we're
outrun.
excited to see a quarterback that's doing okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Doing all right.
we get to claim Joe Burrow too.
I don't.
He played at Ohio State longer than he played at LSU.
Yeah, but then that ended.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. What's next? What do we got next?
Well, for us.
But long story short, you can buy Chase Claypool stuff super
All right,
cheap,
let's head up to the Cheeseheads.
worth a lottery ticket.
Jordan Love.
Very simple. Jordan Love's either gonna blow up and be fantastic, or he's gonna be trash.
He was all over the products as a rookie. I guarantee you, if you were collecting in his rookie year, you have 20 of his rookie cards.
Yes. And what I'm going to tell you with Jordan Love is this. This is my opinion. I don't think he's very good.
Sell the base. Keep a couple of the weird ones.
Sell it all.
Ooh.
Sell all your Jordan Love in the preseason. If he looks competent in the preseason, sell it, because he's not going to be good in the regular season. One, that team has no weapons.
That is a real problem. And in my opinion, that's the reason that Rodgers really...
Oh, 100%. That team has no weapons, and that kid is just not very good, I don't think.
Yeah.
So if he looks competent in the preseason against some vanilla defenses, he goes out in week 3 of the preseason in the first half and throws for 130 yards and a couple of touchdowns, sell it all.
Okay. Let's keep it moving.
Yep.
What's going to happen with Trey Lance then? So, great athlete.
Is he?
I think he's a great athlete.
Here's the thing with Trey Lance. He has played exactly 2 games and 1 quarter of football in 4 years. COVID year, his college canceled the season. And they scheduled 1 exhibition game for him to be able to play a game so he'd have some game film. And he didn't play that well in it against another 1AA team.
Yeah.
Then he gets drafted number 3 overall and sits his entire rookie season, with the exception of 8 or 9 plays here or there in run packages and little things. Then last year, they anoint him the starter. Week 1, he plays. We can't tell how good he was in that game because it was in the middle of a monsoon in Chicago. Nobody looked good in that game. And then the next game, he destroys his ankle in the first quarter. Then Jimmy G comes back and plays really well and puts the Niners in position. Then he gets hurt. And then Brock Purdy comes in and has the best 6-game stretch of any rookie 7th-round pick in the history of ever. And now Trey Lance is in limbo. They just signed Sam Darnold to decent money. Trey Lance is coming into year 4. They're not going to pick up his 5th-year option. They're certainly not going to give him a new deal. He's 3rd on the depth chart. I think the best they can expect for him in trade is, maybe a 5th or a 6th? That conditionally becomes a 4th?
Yeah.
I mean, and people are still buying his stuff. That's what's crazy
that
to me.
surprises me a little bit.
Yeah.
He needs to be in a position where he can get on the field. But at some point, you've been away from it. So,
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly.
Time off isn't-
running back and quarterback are very
Sure.
different, but
Time
you're
off
right.
isn't always a good thing.
No, not at all. Well, look what happened to Deshaun Watson when he came back last year.
Yeah. Now, that better pick up. Like, talk about make or break. You are so locked in. If he doesn't come out with it figured out,
Hey guys, I hate to break this to you.
I don't think he's
not gonna.
I think he will figure it out.
Okay.
You think he's broken?
I think that one of the reasons
He doesn't have to be good. That contract, he doesn't have to be good.
Well, no, he has to be great with that contract. Now, for him personally, no, he's getting paid his cash no
That's
matter
what I'm
what.
saying.
He doesn't care, and that's part of the problem.
That's my point.
But the other thing that people forget is that the thing that made Deshaun Watson so good in Houston was the fact that they basically said, this is kind of an offense, but you just do whatever the hell you want to do. Kevin Stefanski's offense don't work that way.
No.
At all. Kevin Stefanski's offense is play action, run heavy, get to quarter. That is
Smash mouth,
not Deshaun Watson's game. Deshaun Watson's game is 4 receivers, shotgun, I'm going to run around
Air
and
it
chuck
out.
it.
Yep.
Like, so it's completely different.
I agree. That's a good point. Yeah. But my point is the way that contract is structured for Deshaun.
Oh, he doesn't care. It's guaranteed. He's getting paid no matter what.
I cry myself to
But
sleep.
that team was drastically better with Jacoby Brissett last year.
Yeah.
Drastically.
All right. Let's get to him, Tua. He's got to either do it or don't. Here's what I think Tua needs. He needs a whole season without an injury.
Yep.
And he needs to maintain these completion percentages on short and long passes through the end of the year.
Okay.
If he does that, then it's like, all right, the guy is a established NFL quarterback. NFL top 100, the players vote, he was number 80.
Yeah, which that means there were probably, 15 or 20 quarterbacks ahead of him,
Yeah.
right?
So these are guys playing with him.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing that, I have friends that have played that talk about the speed of the game and how what you're seeing on the field is very different from what you're seeing on TV.
Yes.
So there's a lot of room for growth there. But for me, Tua, this is whatever fumes are left for the Tua train, it's this season.
My concerns with Tua are the same as that they have always been.
No one asked you your concerns.
He looks all world against bad teams. But anytime a team forces him to throw the ball to the boundary, it's
Panic.
bad.
Yeah, panic.
If they force him to throw the ball outside of the middle of the field, it's bad. Now, I will say this. Anything inside the hashes, he is really accurate.
Dangerous, yeah.
And with the speed that team has, that's very dangerous. Yeah. The problem is when you play a good defense with the athletes to match up in the middle of the field and you force him to beat you over the top on the outside, he can't do it. He's physically not capable of doing it. And what really is concerning is not just that, but when he starts to fail, he doesn't fight through the failure. It just drops off of a cliff. It's like, I could get through this if I was mentally tougher, and I might not be superstar with it, but I could not cause our team to lose. But as soon as things start to go bad, that dude mentally crumbles.
Yeah.
That's what my concerns are.
I think he's going to play stronger. So if you haven't seen what he looks like, he looks different than he did last year.
He's got that sleeve, baby.
Yeah, well, and his neck. He did a lot of neck work. Neck working. But I think he's going to throw stronger. I think he's going to move slower. So I think that's a trade-off.
Well, he was never fast.
No, but he was a little bit mobile.
He was slippery.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the man looks like he's put on about 15 or 20 pounds.
This is not a facetious question. This is a real question. Mm-hmm. What happens the first time he takes a really hard hit?
That is the question.
Because it's going to happen.
Yes, that is the question. And
does he get happy feet and just fall off a cliff?
Well, happy feet, or, I don't want to wish it on him, but the man's been very susceptible to concussions.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying does he get another concussion. I'm just saying the first time that
Well,
J.J. Watt busts through and just puts him on his ass.
Well, J.J.'s not going to be the one to do it, but he retired, right?
Not J.J., yeah, T.J., sorry.
Yeah, so,
T.J. Yeah,
wrong Watt.
JJ.
But, no, I think how much – I don't know what it would be like to have that happen to you, to know
it
that
hurts.
it was – well, you talk about the physical thing that happened, then mentally, if you ever watch the replay of you having a seizure on the ground, like you considered retiring. This was he talked about it. So I think that's the part where all of those things are going to come into play the first time he faced a really tough line.
Yeah.
I think he has clearly put in work to make himself handle hits more.
Stronger,
but mentally,
yeah.
Who knows? Because I would agree with you.
He was never mentally tough before.
Under pressure, his footwork would change. You would see just panic.
His arm slot would change.
Well, and with a lefty, it's already weird.
Yeah.
So then it's like even more in like a 3/4 delivery.
Uh-huh.
And when you're not a big guy and you don't have that leverage, that's just dangerous.
Yeah.
You're keeping the ball too low over the center.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I agree with you on Tua. Here's the one I did.
His stuff's kind of cheap, though, so if you want to take a flyer.
I've been picking up, so obviously I'm still buying Tua, but I've been picking up any of just like, how would I explain this? Low-end products that are short-numbered or like a little bit more rare parallel. So
Well,
like,
to give you an idea, Donruss, just
Weird.
a base Donruss rated rookie. Joe Burrow's going to cost you $15 to $20 raw. Justin Herbert's going to cost you $8 to $10. You can buy two for $1.
yeah.
Maybe two all day long.
2 is about what I'm seeing at shows, but it's a lot cheaper. But those, we're not talking about the same caliber.
Well, no, but
quarterback.
my point is it's kind of a cheap lottery ticket.
Yeah.
If you think there's even a chance he could spike,
So for me, where I'm targeting would be like optic, low numbered, parallel, different shimmers, this or that, prism black, refractors. Refractors is a top product, but you know what I'm saying. That's what I'm building up.
Full disclosure, I will not be spending a penny on Tua, but if you have some risk tolerance, it's not the worst bet to make. It's just a bet I think is a losing bet. But if you've got some faith in him, it's a cheap bet.
Well, faith in him, and also that division is really, I think this year it's Miami and it's Buffalo again. The Jets, here's the thing. That is going to be the biggest cluster. I cannot wait to see what happens there. There are some really talented athletes built around Rodgers. That organization finds a way to destroy it.
Oh, yeah.
So
absolutely.
I don't think that's a thing.
Can you imagine Rodgers' weirdness being amplified by the New York media?
Yeah.
Like, he was weird in Wisconsin for
get way
15,
worse.
20 years. Like, in New York, the first time he says some off-the-wall shit, it's on the front page of the Post for a week. It's going to be interesting.
He's going to be courtside at the Knicks reading a book.
Right, yeah, yeah.
So I think
and not just a book, like the dictionary.
I also think New England will. This is the 2 to 3 year hibernation of Belichick figuring out how he's going to reinvent this program.
That's my offseason buy, super cheap buy. I talked about it before, is Mac Jones.
He's real cheap.
Mac Jones didn't forget how to play football, guys.
That's true. Yep.
He had Matt Patricia. I say this, and I will go to my grave with it. I believe it to my soul. I am more qualified to call plays than Matt Patricia.
Oh, my gosh.
The end. Now, Matt Patricia calling a defense? Absolutely. That's his world. I am more qualified to call plays than Matt Patricia is. Okay. I have called more offensive plays than Matt Patricia has.
Hey, bud.
So
you're getting a little carried away.
I'm just saying, Mac Jones didn't forget how to play football, and he's getting back with a coach he had in college that he had a lot of success with.
Yep. So back to my point, it's Miami and the Bills, which brings me to our last player that I want to talk about. And then I think we might shelf what we're going to talk about next.
Okay. Are we running long?
We're not running long, but we will if we get into that.
Okay.
It's going to take a little bit. Teaser. Josh Allen. I think we got to talk about him on Make or Break. I didn't think 2 years ago I would have laughed at you. Told me we were going to be having this conversation, but the problem is this: you could not have more momentum than Buffalo had going into the playoffs. It doesn't exist.
Right.
That's it.
2 years in a row.
Yes. And for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to figure it out. It's not that they aren't in the game. It's not total blowouts left and right, but with all of the excitement around him, especially related to the hobby, the dude has to win some playoff games.
Yeah, I think that we are bordering on Josh Allen becoming this generation's Dan Fouts.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds pretty aggressive to me.
Well, what was Dan Fouts' career? Pro Bowl player almost every year. All-Pro, first-team All-Pro multiple times. Big arm, huge arm down the field passer who had lots of success in the regular season and would win a playoff game here or there and then crumble. I can't even say that Josh Allen is on Jim Kelly's level because Jim Kelly went to Super Bowls, 4 of them in a row.
Well, yeah. Big difference.
So Josh Allen, and again, I'm not one of these guys that says that one player can get you where you need to go all the way, all the time. But in really close games in the NFL, if you're a quarterback, you got to be able to do. And in Josh Allen's defense 2 years ago, he did.
Yes.
And then Patrick Mahomes went Patrick Mahomes, and then they lost a coin flip.
Aerial passes.
Yeah, it's like Patrick Mahomes went Patrick Mahomes with 72 seconds left in the game from their own 10 and forced overtime, and they lost a coin flip. Like Josh Allen did everything he could do. But at a certain point, you got to cross that barrier. You got to cross that line. Like Joe Burrow has had more playoff success than Josh Allen has. And he's played 3 years less in the league when you count the fact that his rookie year, he basically missed the whole year.
Yeah. I did not think we'd be in that spot.
And Josh Allen's cards are priced high. Like he's not cheap.
Even being a Dolphins fan, in the same division, like I still cheer for him.
Oh,
Once
it's hard
Miami's
not to.
out.
He's got a great story.
I love the way
He's
he plays.
Fun to watch.
I love the fan base in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I tried to talk you into taking me to the Dolphins game, but alas, here we are.
Oh, that's how we're gonna play this.
Anyway, I don't know. I think I want to put a cap in it. So next week, one of the things we're going to be walking through is MLB second half rookies, where to spend your money, what players to buy by position, who we think will end up on top. Some of these guys don't even have an official rookie card yet.
Yeah, we're gambling a little bit
Yeah.
that they may show up in update. One, I'm pretty sure won't, but they do have some cards out now.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll hit that up. This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.